What is up, my friend? I hope you're doing awesome. So in this video, I'm going to start a new series that I am very excited about because I get asked all the time, what are some tips to end anxiety? I struggled with generalized anxiety disorder for over a decade. So grab your tea, my friends, take a sip.
All right, thumbs up. Ready, guys? Let's do this.
Fearless family, and if you're not part of the Fearless family, make sure to click that subscribe button. Also make sure to click like if this helps you, and if you hate it and it doesn't help you, go ahead and still click the like button. Also make sure to comment if you have any questions. So I wanted to go ahead and start off this series called End Anxiety by giving you a very simple illustration that is going to stick with you for the rest of your life that explains what an anxiety disorder is. Because if we don't understand what an anxiety disorder is, we may accidentally think that we're just normal. And it's so common for people to experience perpetual stress, perpetual anxiety, but because they've learned to cope with it for so long, and because that's the subconscious response to the various stressors in their life, they don't even think it's a problem. They're just like, life is stressful and I'm just an anxious soul. That's just part of who I am. But it's not. It is not normal to walk around anxious or stressed most of the time or all the time. And I say anxious or stressed, the terms are synonymous as far as I see it. Imagine that being in an anxious state is like curling your fist, all right? It's like that. And imagine that being in a calm state is like your hand being like a jellyfish or a noodle or what's something else? Gosh, come on, Jordan, think, dude. What is it? Okay, like a sheet blowing in the wind.
Blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
Loosey-goosey. This is how we should be most of the time. We should be walking around in a calm state. And then we will sometimes have stressors that come up and we get tense. Our sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for stress symptoms, fight or flight symptoms, will activate and we'll kind of go into survival mode. But here's what should happen. We should learn how to calm ourselves and come back down to a calm state.
Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
And we should be like this most of the time. We should be walking around in a calm state most of the time. But with an anxiety disorder, it's opposite. We're anxious most of the time. And sometimes we go back down to a calm state for just a few minutes, maybe a few hours or whatever, but then we go right back to an anxious state. That is the mode of living most of the time or all of the time.
Oh my God. Remember your exit points. Exit points, people. What's next?
Oscar!
Huh?
Stay alive, I'm getting help! Say bandit!
So what are the symptoms of a stressful state? And you need to be able to recognize these using mindfulness and also using something called bodyfulness. Mindfulness is whenever you're aware of the present moment, you're aware of the thoughts that are running through your head. Bodyfulness is whenever you're aware of the state of your body. Is your heart racing? Are you shaking? Do you have light sensitivity? And the reason that we need to know these things is to be able to determine which state that we're in, so that way we know, okay, wait, I'm in a stressful state. I'm in a fight or flight state. I need to get back down to a calm state. If you don't even recognize it, if you don't become consciously aware that you're in a negative state and there's no reason to be, then you won't be able to execute a strategy to get back down to the appropriate state, which is a calm state. So here are just a few symptoms of mild stress. Increased energy, you feel fear, you feel anger, you have hyper alertness, you have even excitement, you are more irritable and easily annoyed. I can tell you that's definitely been me in times past whenever I get into these states. You have increased heart rate and breath speed. You also will probably experience some sort of insomnia because it's very difficult to sleep whenever you're in a stressful state. You also may experience body tension, tight muscles. You may feel a headache or other pain. You may have sensations of heat in specific body parts or your entire body, and you just have a general sense of restlessness or feeling fidgety. You also may have speedy thoughts, and you just overall feel nervous in general. Okay, so here are the symptoms of high stress, also known as fight or flight response, which is basically where your stressful state escalates to the point where you're prepared to either fight or flee from a perceived threat. You may feel a sense of panic. You may experience hyperventilation. You may experience a racing heart. You could experience sweating, shaking, trembling. You also will feel overall body tension. You may feel your muscles contracting. You may feel a sense of rage, terror, and at this point you feel like you're at maximum performance. You feel that your mind, your body, it's all primed for engaging some sort of threat, and you know it because it's like revving a car engine. You're like, where's the threat? What do I need to do? Because your body is just so tense and ready for battle. Now, if this state continues to escalate, it will eventually reach a traumatic state, which is where we're overwhelmed beyond our ability to cope, and it's at that point that you may start to feel dissociative symptoms, which are like depersonalization, derealization, emotional numbing to pain. But this series is specifically just about stress and fight or flight response, getting out of those states, learning how to calm ourselves and get back down to a calm state. So I want you to start becoming aware whenever you experience those symptoms. And what happens is, for years and years and years, we have these subconscious responses of stress, anxiety to different stressors, and it feels so natural that we just flow with it. That's how our brain and nervous system are wired, is to make everything a threat, and because it feels so right, we don't resist it. And we don't realize that our brain and nervous system are out of date. It's like having an iPhone 1 whenever there's like an iPhone 500 or whatever. I don't know what iPhone they're on now. Your brain and nervous system still think that there's tigers, lions, and bears everywhere. So thus, the amygdala in your brain is constantly scanning everything and saying, is that a threat? Is that a threat? Is that a threat? And that's how people get caught in this cycle of stressful thinking and stressful symptoms in their body. So we have to invest the time and the effort to recondition our brain and nervous system to upgrade to the safe conditions of the 21st century, unless you're living in some jungle somewhere. Maybe this doesn't apply to you, but for 99% of the other people that are watching this video on your iPhone or sitting somewhere safe in your house or wherever you're at, you're not under any sort of danger, but your brain and nervous system don't know that unless you do things that communicate that there's no threat there, which involves changing your state, getting back down to a calm state. So make sure to turn on the notification bell so that way you get notified about the videos coming up in this series, where I'm going to give you the best techniques that I have found to quickly get back down to a calm state. But your homework to prepare for the next set of videos is to become aware of the thoughts that are going through your head. Become aware when your body starts to get tense and constricted, and become aware when you start to experience the symptoms of mild stress or high stress. And then once you become aware that you're in those states, you can quickly execute the right things to get back down to a calm state. And you don't have to be anxious all the time, my friend. It is 100% possible. You can remain in a calm state most of your life, and I want to show you how.